Welcome to Third Eye Weekly, brought to you by AT&T. On Third Eye Weekly, we try and answer the big questions with intimate and personal narratives. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your host, Lisa.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about some sustainable solutions for our grocery and produce just in time for the holiday season. I know everyone's going to be doing a lot of shopping. We've got some great guests on the show this week.
Yep, we have the founder of Sustainable Solutions, Janice Netzel, as well as a staff scientist, Suzanne Welsh, who's going to be on the show, explaining to us about responsible sourcing for food service industries. We had a good conversation about, is it really worth buying a produce that's a little bit more expensive but reveals the sourcing of the produce, like knowing that it's GMO free and maybe that the chicken is free range. I mean, is that worth buying a little bit more expensive of a food?
Well, I think the kicker for me is that it's so hard to tell with today's advertising and packaging and the way that our food is marketed to us where it's really coming from. And a lot of people will say it's certified fresh or even organic, which we see everywhere, but what does that really mean? Are we getting the necessary details, or are we just being sold these things under the monikers that are being packaged on them? So personally, I work on a little bit of a tighter budget when it comes to grocery shopping, and if I see that something is going to be twice as much money to have it be, USDA certified organic, I'd probably be less likely to buy it than I would something that's half the price.
See, I mean, here Janice is telling us that most consumers are actually growing in concern about where produce is coming from and if things are GMO free. And about 36% would actually pay up to $1 more on a regular item at the grocery store if they know at least that there's a label there telling them if it's GMO free or antibiotic free and where it's coming from.
So would you?
Yeah, I would. I think it's responsible to know exactly where your food is coming from. I think that's invaluable. I don't think you could put a price on that.
Okay, let's say you're not doing so well.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of money. You gotta feed yourself. Maybe you gotta feed your family, you gotta feed your kids. And the choice comes down to being able to afford enough to really feed yourself and let's say maybe your family, or not really have enough because you're getting something that you know comes from a reliable source, that's GMO free, that's USDA organic. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I think it's about being smart in what you buy. Because if you're buying certain items at the grocery store that are gonna just suffice your hunger at that moment, but are cheaper, that doesn't really help you out in the long term. If you buy something that's really healthy and you know that it was grown in a farm without antibiotics, and it's a little bit more pricey, but it'll probably sustain you in your health in the long term. So I think it's worth looking into something that might be a little bit pricier, even if you're strapped for cash, but will in the long run help you out in your health.
Salient point. I guess my hope is that going forward, people will be concerned enough about this issue that there won't be any more GMOs and there won't be any more heavily processed foods, so we don't have to face the dilemma of can I afford something that's really should be the norm, that's way better for me, and we can just hopefully eradicate those things from our diets and from consumers' culture at large in the country.
Yeah, hopefully the healthy choice can be the easier choice.
Amen. We'll tune into Third Eye Weekly this week, get insight into how to better find sustainable solutions through your grocery shopping, produce, and food.